Welcome back, everybody. Thursday morning show off and rolling. Not a cloud in the sky up in Grand Forks. Looking beautiful. Actually, we're going to be back to 70 degrees today. Let's go for that. It's going to be a big weekend, not only in Fargo, but Grand Forks as well. UND's got a big-time game as Youngstown State comes calling. The Fighting Hawks finally ended a road-losing streak of 700 days last Saturday in their win over Northern Iowa. We're going to chat UND football and a bunch of topics with a new weekly guest. Really pumped about having Hunter Pinke join us each and every Thursday. His appearance is going to be brought to us by Northwestern Mutual. I'm going to be old here for a second because I remember sending out our sports crew on a First Down Friday to a South Border game. Gosh, this is, oh man, you're going to date me, at least a decade ago. Because there's a guy at South Border that was starting to get some attention. I think UND had offered you, gosh, I can't remember. I'm going to have to look it up who you guys played. But take me back then when the first offer came in, when Bubba called you, like, what was that? What do you remember about that?
Well, Dom, I remember that very, very clearly. It was in Foreman, North Dakota.
I was, okay. Sergeant Central.
Yep, and we won that game. I think it was 18-6 or 18-12. But that was the glory days, man. 9-man football in North Dakota. We had 18 on our team.
Holy cow!
We had just enough to scrimmage against each other, 9v9. So that was good, man. I had already committed to UND at that time. And I committed the summer going into my senior year. I was one of the first kids in the class. And it was nice because I could just kind of just go play ball then. I didn't have to worry about where I was going recruiting-wise. So I was committed at that time, and then I got to UND going into that 2016 year. And my first year at UND was the Big Sky Championship year.
Wow.
So I got to hop in at a really good time.
When you go back to the phone ringing, or heck, it was probably early days of Twitter and direct messages, what was that like for you as a 17-year-old kid? Like, all right, people think I'm good enough to play Division I football.
Well, I was going to play college basketball. I didn't even think about playing college football. And I got a call from Eric Schmidt, who was the defensive coordinator at the time, but he's obviously now the head coach. And he said, "Hunter, we've seen your film. We'd love for you to come to camp this summer going into my senior year."
Yeah.
And I remember I came home to my mom and I said, "A coach from UND just called. He said, 'We've seen your film. Where's my film at?'" I didn't even know I had film. I was that out of it. And it turns out my coach in high school had put together a little highlight film and had posted it on Huddle.
Oh, no kidding.
I didn't even know I had that. And so that was pretty cool to have UND calling and being like, wow, I guess this is a real thing. So that's how I got to camp, and then recruiting picked up after that.
So after that, did the phone start ringing even more so once UND was interested?
I think so. I mean, you get interest from one of the two Division I schools, and then a lot of the smaller schools are like, hey, maybe we should also look at this. A lot of the Division II schools in the area and the NSIC go to the Division I schools camps,
Right.
So Mary, Minot, Northern, they'll go to NDSU's and UND's camps. And so they got to see me at camp as well. Anybody that is looking to get recruited to play college football, go to UND or NDSU's camps, and you're going to see a lot of the smaller schools as well, Jamestown and Mary and all those schools. So that was the key for me to go get seen.
Can you tell us about your one career touchdown in college? Can you?
Oh yeah. Oh, I love telling that story, Dom. It just gets better and better with time too. I was a part of UND when we were, tight end sets, running a lot. We didn't throw the ball all too often, and we really didn't throw it to the tight end much. So my one touchdown was pretty sacred. It was out in Davis, California.
Yeah.
And, it was a tight end wheel, a little post wheel concept. They were in cover 2, so the safety took the post. I snuck around the back, and it was a 36-yard touchdown. Keaton Sudsard put it on me, and I dove for the pylon. And I'll never forget it, Dom. I dove for the pylon, and the pylon hit me in a spot that doesn't feel very good. And so I remember I could barely even talk. Everyone was, hitting my helmet. I could barely even talk.
Oh man, did you keep the ball?
I didn't keep the ball. I
No.
couldn't even. I didn't even think about keeping the ball. I had to go. I was on the field goal
Oh,
unit, so I had to go, get in my stance
had to
for
go
extra
line
point.
up, right? I
Right.
about those days, and I talk with Tom Miller about this all the time. You guys were all over the place. You were going to Cheney, you're going to Davis, you went to Missoula. I mean, tell me about those road trips, and now looking back at it, of going from South Border and then traveling to all these locations a couple years later.
Yeah, my hometown is Wishick, North
Yeah.
Dakota. South Borders our co-op, and we maybe have a couple hundred people at our games. It's typical small town North Dakota. My first game that I played in was at the University of Utah in front of
Yeah.
55,000 or 60, whatever that holds. And so that was a pretty eye-opening moment
Yep.
for me, because the last game that I played was nine-man football. I think maybe against Shiloh or Kidder County. And then the next game I played was against the University of Utah with Zach Moss and a bunch
Jeez.
of guys that are in the NFL now.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. But at the same time, our coaches did a good job of just keeping the main thing of, man, just go do your job. This is ball.
I appreciate the conversations we're going to have of just how your life has changed since what happened. And I know Kevin Wallivan was out with you at Craig Hospital in Denver. I remember watching those stories fervently as they were airing on our station. On your mindset easily could have gone another way. How did it not do that? How did you prevent that from that my life isn't over, that it's actually just starting?
Yeah, I got told early on after my skiing accident in Colorado that my life was going to go in one of two directions. It was either going to kind of go down a slippery slope
Yeah.
of depression, despair, kind of a poor me attitude, or it could be a springboard into kind of a new, different life that you never really had on your radar. And I made that decision pretty early that this is the hand of cards I've been dealt, and am I going to fold or am I just going to lay them down and play? And there was no discussion for that. It was going to be let's go, let's see what we can make out of this. And so I attacked rehab, kind of with the same mentality that Coach Swaggart had installed with our team at UND, of just day by day. I mean, for UND fans, we've heard that over the past decade. I don't know how many times, but just do my work today and let tomorrow worry about itself. And you're going to can see consistent improvement. And that's what's happened. I've gotten better physically, but I've also gotten better mentally. I'm a different person today, about 6 years later, than I was back then, and that's a good thing. And hopefully, Dom, what I've been able to do is my struggle can now hopefully help other people in theirs. And I don't know if there's any more fulfilling thing that you get to do than that.
What did the doctors, Hunter, tell you about long-term recovery, if any, of what you were going to have after your accident?
Yeah, I remember very, very clearly. I was laying in my room on my bed, and we were in the hospital, and the doctor that had performed the surgery came in. He said, "Hunter, we got good news and bad news. Which one you want first?" I said, "Give me the good news," because I wanted him to say, "Hey, relieve the pressure. You're gonna get feeling back here in the next few days. You'll be out of here." And he said, "Well, you're still alive." And I was like, "Well, okay, but when am I walking out?" And he said, "Well, you have a 2% chance to get some feeling back in your legs."
Mm.
And that was an eye-opening moment again of like, okay, this is real. This is going to be a fight and a battle. And then after a few moments, after kind of thinking like, wow, this is real, I had this thought from Jim Carrey, and there's that movie moment where he looks at the girl and he kind of smiles and he says, "So you're saying there's a chance?" And 2%, okay, I can handle 2%. At least you're giving me a chance. At least I have something to go
Yeah.
chase. So that's kind of been my mentality of like,
Yeah.
okay, at least I'm still here and I have a chance.
You've had now the opportunity to speak everywhere. You've talked. I mean, you and I saw you just a few weeks ago. Actually, you were telling me about where you were heading. That you've spoken to sports teams. You've talked to How did this come about of the speaking route? And was this something in your DNA that was always there? Were you always an outgoing guy?
Well, how it started was Stephen Argyle Public School up in Northwest Minnesota. They did a fundraiser for me, and they called it the Pinky Promise fundraiser. And they all wore UND green, and they made a bunch of signs, and they raised some money to help me in my recovery. And as a way to say thank you, they asked me if I'd come and talk to their kids. And so I went up to Stephen and talked with the kids, and that was just like a one-time thing. Well, a couple of months after, I get a call from Dakota Prairie High School. So Petersburg, Mackville, a conglomerate of
Yep.
those little towns.
Yep.
And they say, Hunter, we saw you speak at Stephen Argyle on Facebook or something, and we're wondering if you would be willing to come speak to our kids because our speaker couldn't get in because of the blizzard. It was kind of right around the holidays, and I said, okay, well, when do you want me to speak? And they said tomorrow. It was like 3 p.m. I said, okay, yeah, I'll throw something together. Do you want me to talk to your high school? And they said, we want you to talk to our elementary, our middle school,
Wow.
and our and I was like, okay. So I that night I threw some notes down, some uh things that were on my heart that night, and on the top of the page it said no bad days.
Mm.
And that keynote speech, it's obviously been modified over the past 5 years, but that keynote speech has been talked to over 350,000 people.
Wow.
And so it's pretty amazing how God opens doors, one thing to the other. But it all started with Stephen Argyle just to
That's
go say
I did
first
not know
kid.
that. That's amazing. Is there one that stood out that you had to like, all right, take a step back. This is pretty neat. That they asked me to do this and I'm here.
Well, Alabama was pretty
Yeah,
cool.
I
I mean,
bet.
you go down to Tuscaloosa and you walk into that facility and you got four Heisman trophies sitting there and national championships just lining the wall, and they have a whole room just for their rings that they've won. And you go down another hall and it's just their first round draft picks. It's not all their draft picks; it's just their first round draft picks, and it's just like wow. I've watched these guys my entire life, Mark Ingram, Derrick Henry, Quentin Williams, all these guys, and now I'm in the halls that they were in. And getting to talk with that team was really, really special for me. I've got a good relationship with Coach DeBoer, which stemmed from his relationship with Eric Schmidt.
Yeah.
And so it's just kind of who knows who, and you get connected with people, and that's been really, really cool.
Speaking
Hey,
of
Millbank, South Dakota, he's one
right,
of us.
right. Speaking of your former DC, now he's the head coach, and I want to segue to this week's game. I know how much you follow the boys and see what's going on. Tell me, just watching what Jerry Kaminsky has done, how impressed are you of what UND looks like so far in 2025?
Well, Coach Schmidt, he's man, I had a lot of faith in him. When they made the hire, I didn't know if we were actually going to be able to get him,
Mm.
but because he was down at San Diego, and man, he's living on the beach, and is he going to come back to Grand Forks? And so, man, I've known Coach Schmidt for a long time. I'm not surprised that he made the switch and the transition seamlessly. I think bringing in a new defense was needed. And he knew the 3-4 really well. He left for 5 years, went and learned something new, and it's been really, really good. It's been working. I think it fits some of the body types that you need in the Missouri Valley to be successful. And I think he was really smart in keeping some of the coaches from the previous staff as well. Coach Frichte on the offensive side has that offense humming right now.
Wow.
One of the best quarterbacks in the FCS. And then Coach Kostic, a Moorhead guy on the special teams. I don't know if anyone does it better in the whole country. So I think he's doing really good, and I'm not surprised by the success so far.
Big one with Youngstown State coming up on Saturday afternoon. Describe that. Knowing Youngstown brings a really elusive quarterback, this has got all the makings of what could be a really fun game.
These are the games that you got to win to go make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like both teams are going to be on that edge of can you make the playoffs? And everybody knows NDSU and STSU are going to be near the top of the conference. but can you go win this big game and play Missouri Valley football? I mean, it's going to be one in the trenches, as most games in the Missouri Valley are. So I'm excited. You know, the Alaris Center has been very, very good to UND over the years. So it's a big deal that they're coming to our place this year.
This is great, bud. I look forward to doing this each and every Thursday. I think our viewers and listeners are going to totally get a ton out of this. Thanks so much for this, and we'll talk next week, okay?
All right.
Thanks,
All right,
bud.
sounds good. Thanks, Dom.
There he goes. Hunter Pinke joining us, former UND football player, pride of Wishick, North Dakota. South Park, he remembered it. Stace will get a kick out of that when Sergeant Central still had its own football team. We went to Foreman to shoot a game with him playing in it. That was 2015. That was the fall of 15, so 10 years ago. And, boy, what an amazing, harrowing story you told there. And we're looking forward to having him on the show each and every Thursday at 9:35 going forward. We'll break. We come back. We'll wrap up our first hour. We got some breaking sports TV news to share, that couple of big ones, football and basketball related. We'll do that when we wrap up hour one. Back on Hot Mic right after this.